Mordalion is a deck releasing in DZ Set 3, and it's unique in that it's the first getter deck to focus on set orders. Its set order being Monitored Tryst. It's grade 2, costs nothing to play, and can even be played from the drop zone. When it's played, you check top 7 for a unit to put underneath it as an undercover gauge. With Mordalion's effect, when he attacks, you can counterblast 1 to call 2 of your undercover gauges to rearguards in the same column, making it a very easy multi-attack combo deck, which is never really a bad thing in Keter because all a Keter deck really needs to do is just have good rearguards and a Vanguard that can abuse them. However, Mordalion is not a man that fits into society. In fact, we're not abusing good rearguards, we're abusing bad ones. Incisive Crow is a grade 1 rearguard that, when boosting, can discard a card to give the boosted unit 2000 power for every 2 grades of your Vanguard. This is probably one of the worst cards I've ever seen. It is meant to work with Grief of Gila because that has 10 grades, but here we're using it just as a discard outlet. What we're using it for is Isalta, a grade 1 that, when placed on rear or discarded, can restand a back row rearguard. We combo this with Obskidide, which has once again been cucked of his own deck and is put in someone else's as a rearguard. Obskidide is a grade 3 rearguard that can Soul Blast 1 to call himself from an undercover gauge to your back row center rearguard, but can attack from the back row and also gives himself 10,000 power, and so long as your opponent's at grade 3, when he attacks, so long as you didn't do any drive checks from rearguards during this turn, you can Soul Blast 1 to give him a singular drive check, but at end of battle he goes to the bottom of the deck. It's not required though, so we just refuse to use it, and keep using Incisive Crow with Isalta to just keep restanding him and attacking from the back row rearguard. Beyond this, we use Deira to check top 5 for an undercover or Shadow Paladin card to add to hand, Belladere to remove himself and return a discarded card back to hand, Lagriel as a last chance attacker and discard outlet, as well as Mordalion's skill to give 5k to all my undercover units so long as I have 3 or more Monitored Trysts. He also has the ability to Energy Blast 2 and check top 7 for any amount of cards to put into your empty Monitored Trysts. The combo might take some time to get used to, but just try it out a little bit. So long as you know where your Isaltas and discard outlets are, you're pretty fine. You can use Belladeres on rearguard or in drop zone to remove it and add a discarded card back to hand, so that keeps Isaltas more in your hand over time. You may be tempted to attack with Vanguard first so that you can get buffs on Obskidide, which is a good idea, but if you do have Isalta in your undercover gauges, you might want to save the Vanguard attack for later, since Mordalion can call that Isalta and give another restand to Obskidide. Here's the list I was using in the video today. It prioritizes combo pieces, but still makes space for tech cards and consistency tools. Deira and Drilling Angel are both here to search through the deck, with Drilling Angel also supporting with some soul. On the other side, my opponent for today, my dear friend Ron, is playing Stauhirhaja. It focuses on playing Codex orders, one of which can resurrect a rearguard from the drop zone, giving it 5k and a critical when it restands, while the other debuffs the opponent's Vanguard, making it lose 3000 power until the end of its next turn, and then by Soul Blasting 2, also reduces its drive by 1. You can play both in one turn, and with Stauhirhaja's effect when it attacks, you can counterblast and restand your front row rearguards up to the number of Codexes you played this turn. We've gone on yapping long enough, so let's get into the fight. Starting things off, I draw a Monitored Tryst and discard it since I can just play it from the drop zone, and then using my Vanguard's effect to search for another Monitored Tryst. I have to reveal Mordalion from my ride line, but in a casual game like this with a friend, that's not really important. Getting to play them from drop zone is also very nice because I can just discard them to ride and they're effectively free rides. So, on Ron's first turn, not a whole lot is going on. He just rides, doesn't activate the effect because it's within road upon, and then calls up Vera for a body and then attacks for 16, not getting a trigger. On my next turn, not a lot happens either. I search for another Monitored Tryst and then eventually play one from my drop zone, getting a Bloody Arc from it. It's a solid pick to get and then call from Mordalion skill, and it's also nice to just check the top card and then eventually return a discarded Isalta back to hand. I also call Deira, with her skill checking top 5 for an undercover or Shadow Paladin card to hand, which is pretty much just my perfect card, but adding a Persona Ride to hand. As always, a Persona Ride is probably the best tool to actually help with your combos, just because the extra 10k is just such a valuable tool for actually making your attacks land. And after all, we're shooting for turn 4 to do our combos, since Mordalion only gives 5k to all your undercover units so long as you have 3 or more Monitored Trysts. So because of that, we're waiting for turn 4 to make sure that Obskidide is a 28k attacker instead of just a 23. On to Ron's turn, he rides his grade 2, using his grade 1's effect to check top 7 for either his grade 3 or one of his Codex orders. He does find a Codex. He then also calls Vibratska the Leaper, using its skill to counterblast 1 and check top 7 for a Codex to add to hand, or if he doesn't find one, then just draw instead. I know it doesn't look like he checked top 7, but he did and I just edited it out. I still think it's an important decision in my videos to edit out the minor things like searching the deck and stuff, just because that takes up a lot of extra time in a match. I guard the first attack for 1 to pass, Ron doesn't get anything, and then with a second attack I decide to take it because I do need a damage for Mordalion next turn. I once again discard a Monitored Tryst that I can ride, and then I'll be using that Monitored Tryst immediately. And with it, I get myself a much needed combo piece, Obskidide. adding Obscudite there.
Straight monitoring this Trist.
When the Trist is fucking monitored.
Oh,
dude, why is the bird on monitored Trist like also Shadow Paladin styled? He's dripped the fuck out.
You know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I will Soul Blast 1 to activate Obscudite's... What the fuck?
Okay, me too.
Okay, I think I put Monitored Trist in its own prison. So, if I do this and open its prison, I can get back both cards that were there. But...
What the hell?
Yeah, no, this game does not work well.
God, CFA, it's my favoriteest game.
Love CFA. Obscudite skill as a undercover gauge, Soul Blast 1 to call it to back row rear guard. With its skill, if I have a grade 3 or greater undercover, gets 10k and can attack from the back row.
Nice.
I will then Energy Blast 2 for Mordalion skill, checking top 7 for 1 card to put into an empty Monitored Trist. Putting this. And then shuffle, call, go, 13 to Van, skill, counterblasting 1 to call 2 from my undercover gauges. So 13 Van.
Okay, we'll go 2 to pass.
Go first. I'll go power to rear and draw, and second. Nothing. 16 Van.
I will... I'll intercept and guard.
Sounds good. I will go 23 to Van.
I'll take that.
And 28.
And I will take that.
Alright. Pass the turn. So we could have done the combo there, but at 1 damage I was worried about defensive triggers, and, well, I was right about that, so better to just spread that power around and make sure that all the attacks can at least hit. But now onto Ron's turn. He rides the grade 3, using the grade 2 skill to search his entire deck for any codex that he wants, and then he'll be playing one. Resurrecting Vibratska and using its skill to counterblast 1, check top 7, not find anything, but still gets a draw. With the effect of the codex now on Vibratska, it'll get an extra critical when it restands, and of course with Stauhirhaja's skill, he just gets to restand his entire front row because he's playing 2 codex. He also plays a second one, which will debuff me now. I lose 3000 power until the end of my next turn, even if I Persona Ride, and I also lose a drive check, again also if I re-ride. I elect to take this first damage, which pays off pretty well. I take a defensive trigger, and that's going to help for the rest of the turn, especially because, well, it's only a 7k buff really. Stauhirhaja then attacks, using its skill to counterblast 1 and restand a front row rear guard for each codex that he played this turn. Vibratska got an extra critical because of the codex that resurrected him, so because of this, I elect to no-guard the Vanguard attack. Luckily enough, only 1 critical gets revealed. Unlucky for me though, I don't get any defenses myself. Vibratska is fucking swole, so I need to throw down a bunch of guard to make sure that I can survive this turn.
Gotcha. And then I'll swing 28 here.
Sure.
I will pass turn.
I am very glad you did. Persona Ride, draw.
I'm very glad that it's my turn again.
I'm very glad you attacked the rear guard.
I bet you are. Uh-oh.
Very fucking much. So activate Monitored Trist from draw, check top 7. From this Monitored Trist I get Dara, and then with Mordalion's skill because I now have 3 set orders, all my undercover units get 5k. I'll then be using Mordalion's skill, Energy Blasting 2 to check top 7 for any number of cards to put into my empty Monitored Trists. I need to fucking go here. So... well, it's all my units with undercover. So these all get 5k. Alright. And now I'm going to go to battle phase, attack Vanguard for 28. Ron then uses Pompolodeo's skill, retiring it from the rear guard to lower Obscudite's power by its base power. Meaning he loses 13k, but in a matchup like this, we just need to get that out of the way right away, and just hope for some triggers later. I will attack your Vanguard for 36. With the skill of Incisive Grow, I discard Isalta to give 2000 power, 2000 for every 2 grades of my Vanguard, and skill of Isalta, I restand a back row rear guard.
So I'll take a damage. Powered from my Vanguard.
Okay, I will attack your Vanguard, counterblasting 1 to call 2 from my undercover gauges. First and second, skill of the Blediers. Since our grades are equal or I'm lower, I check the top card of my deck, and I will put it on the bottom to give it 2k.
Nice.
And then for the other one, I will check the top card. I'll keep it on top. This is 25 to ban.
Let's go 38 to pass.
Go first, everything to Obscudite, and second, power to Obscudite, and I draw. While editing, I realized that I cheated and should not have done the second drive check because of the codex lowering my drives, so apologies, but luckily this doesn't matter too much in the end.
Ruh-roh.
It's 35 extra crit.
38.
Okay. I will attack. Skill of Incisive Crow. I discard a card to give another 2k. Skill of Isalta, restand Obscudite, and then I will use the skill of Bledier in my drop zone, Energy Blasting 3 and removing him from the game to return Isalta back to him.
All scary numbers. 38, I will take this.
I will go 35 extra crit. And with his skill, because I did not perform drive checks from rears this turn, I Soul Blast 1, because you're also at grade 3. Obscudite will do a drive check for this attack. Obscudite gets met with a Perfect Guard, and after attacking, he's forced to the bottom of the deck. Beyond this, none of my other attacks are going to land, and onto Ron's turn, he has just about everything he needs to just eke out a victory. After Persona writing, his first codex calls out for Bratska, which will check top 7 for the second codex, though he doesn't get it but gets to draw, and with that draw gets Alvira, which will be returning an order from job to hand. He doesn't have enough soul to lower my drive checks, but regardless, he's still lowering my power by 3,000.
For BK or Vanguard.
Okay, I need to no guard this, but I need to say, before you kill me, doesn't it look like both our Vanguards are mewing? They both got like a finger over their lips, they're like, bye-bye!
Oh, they straight up mewing, except Mordalion definitely has been doing it longer.
Yeah, I'm amazed that they did just...
Stauhirhaja.
Like, yeah, he's just starting out. Mordalion, on the other hand, they knew what they were doing when they gave us an Elf Twink and Shadow Paladin. Anyways,
Very
no guard.
True.
Hey guys, thank you so much for watching, especially if you stuck around so long in my absence. I really appreciate it. I am trying to make more videos again. You might have noticed that this video is a bit different, both in matter of quality, because I got a better computer, and the color. I decided that it is Sheriff Season 2, and I actually wanted to go with an idea that I had at the start of making my channel that every now and then I would just change up the color theme and everything about it. So hope you like it. I think it's pretty cool. It's going to be sticking around for a while. I don't know when Sheriff Season 3 is going to be, but please subscribe, follow me on Twitter, and thank you for joining.